Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Pop Talk. I am your host, Mike, and tonight I'm going to be talking about Disney getting some loot to make another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Alice Eves defending her role in Star Trek Into Darkness, and also Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan selling out a show in a recent gig. And one of the other things I'm going to be talking about is Boba Fett. All right, just checking one last thing before I continue. All right. So I hope you're all doing well tonight. Glad that you're all here. Hello, Spock. Hello. Yes, it was a good night last night on Tuesday Night Trek. If you are unfamiliar with the Star Wars Guys channel, well, Master Paul, the Star Wars Guys, invited me to join Tuesday Night Trek with the Nerdporial Lifeform and Mr. Spock's Friday nights, and it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Yes, it was, Spock. And hello, Jake D. Hello, Spock. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Don't mind me as my cat just entered the room and she wants some attention. Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing. So, how's everybody's week been so far? You know, we're at the midway point. Friday is almost here. The weekend's almost here. I'm sure a lot of us are ready for the weekend by now. And 1 second while I send a message to a buddy of mine. See if it'll work. And Spock and Jake D, if you'd like to join, well, let me know and I can send you the invitation. Let me just finish this and then I will continue on. All right. So, again, like I said, some of the topics of discussion for tonight. There he is. There he is. And there he goes. Oh, don't worry, Patriot. I will hold a spot here for you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the time Common Sense America, also known as the Smoking Patriot. Hello,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
Okay, good. Yeah, damn thing kept refreshing on me and wouldn't let me access anything. So,
Well, you can blame me. I'm trying something other than StreamYards this week, especially with some of the problems I've been having with it lately.
I don't blame you there.
So, how's your week been, brother?
Good. It's cold here. We're getting nice and cold, so I'm loving this.
Yes, the crisp is definitely here in North Carolina. You can feel it in the air, and I like it. I may be California
Yeah.
born and raised, but I really do like the fall weather.
Hey, I was Florida for most of my life, and I like the actual cold. I like that seasonal cold you get. So, you know,
Yeah,
of course,
it makes a
Floridians right now
difference.
would be icicles.
Yeah, true. Very true. So, some of the articles of discussion I wanted to talk about this evening were Alice Eves defending her scene in Star Trek Into Darkness, Disney getting some pirate sequel loot to make a sequel outside the US, and Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle selling out a combined comedy show that they did together.
Okay, all right.
So let's go ahead and get into this. And you all have to bear with me tonight. As I've said, I am trying out Melon for the first time. So we'll see how this goes. It'll either be, a great experiment or not so great experiment. Okay, so here we go. And sharing. And now showing it on screen. This comes out of the California Business Journal. And let me just check one more thing because I'm getting another message. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get underway here. This comes out of the California Business Journal, as I said. And it says Disney receives huge government grant to make a Pirates of the Caribbean film outside the U.S. Now, this article, I'm trying to look for the date that it was posted. And okay, it was posted on the 30th. So that would have been Saturday. And this article starts out, and it's originally from the Los Angeles Times. Let me get that out of the way before I forget. But it starts out by saying Christopher Boyd never expected to find himself sparring with the world's biggest entertainment company. But that's exactly what the Queensland, Australia resident wound up doing after making a seemingly unconscious. Uh, I have no idea. I've never seen that word before. So give me a second. And innocuous. Duh. Come on, Mike. Innocuous records request under his state's government right and Information Act in 2015. It says Boyd 39 wanted to know the size of the production grant the Queensland government gave to Walt Disney Company to entice the company to shoot the film Pirates in the Caribbean there. He was skeptical of claims that the movie would be a financial boon for the state. He goes on to say it was. Hang on for a second. Who is actually working on this? We don't really see any benefits here, said Boyd, who heads a video production company in Queensland. We went, okay, well, how much is this costing as a taxpayer? But Burbank based Disney and two Queensland governmental entities took the unusual step of fighting the release of the information, contending it was confidential and that making it public could damage Disney's business. Hmm. Oh, I could say a few things right now, but I'll wait.
I might not have a tongue here in a few seconds after if I keep biting it.
I understand, brother. I'll get through this quickly. Film business and tax credit experts in Australia and the US said they could not recall another instance in which government or government backed entities sought to keep secret. I'm making sure I'm reading that sentence right. Sought to keep secret the size of a subsidy offered for a film production. In the US, such information is typically available and released annually. Yeah, the annual stockholders meetings. but even those can be doctored and have proven to be doctored.
Yeah.
Disney declined to comment, citing a contractual obligation. Uh-huh. The Queensland incentive wasn't the only one Disney got for the project. Australia's federal government gave Disney 21.6 million, the equivalent of about 20 million US at the time of the 2014 deal, to lure the production to the country. It was the biggest individual contribution the government has ever made to financing of a movie. Such large sub- film subsidiaries have come under growing scrutiny from economists and others who argue that the offerings do not help as much as advertised. Well, any of us can figure that one out.
Wait, hang on one second. Hang on, just hold on a second. A fifth pirate movie? They've already made five.
Yeah. So, what this is talking about is pretty much, from what I'm gathering in these first few paragraphs, is the funding that they received to film the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean movie in Queensland, Australia. And this is just
Right,
coming
yeah.
out now.
Oh, this is just coming. I mean, I was gonna say that because that was the
Yep.
one with Jack's son. Not Jack's son. Will's son in
Yeah.
it, or a character playing Will's son in it.
Yeah. This was published on Saturday, but the
So
information is only just coming out now.
I'm I just got to say this article is almost completely pointless from the sheer aspect that this news is what, let's see 2015, so we're about
6
this
years.
is 6 7 years old.
And we're
Why
just
even
finding out
write
about it
this
now.
article? Yeah, why even write this article? That's like writing an article that's breaking news about something Barack Obama did when he was president, but it's breaking news now.
Well, that's another reason why I wanted to talk about it. It's because this information is only coming out now instead of coming out shortly after the movie was either in production or finished production.
Okay.
I have a method to my crazy madness.
Hey, you do you, brother. You do you, man.
Okay. So it says the Queensland incentive wasn't the only. Let me just try. Okay. Such large film subsidiaries have come under growing scrutiny from economists and others who argue the offerings do not help as much as advertised. They tend to be very costly and do not create a number of jobs that is alleged, and the tax revenue doesn't come back, of course. An assistant professor at USC said, an expert on production incentives, the research shows it probably boosts the wages in the short term for people who work in the industry, but it doesn't last. Well, does anything last in Hollywood anymore? And
Not
hello
really.
to the Padawannabe. Let me just see if I can. Yes. All right. So then it goes on to say an independent auditor working for Queensland government has made a similar point. A 2015 report by an auditor, Queensland Competition Authority, said that the state government should stop giving incentives to major film projects that deliver benefits largely appropriated by international production companies and instead focus on supporting productions that deliver net cultural benefits to the state. A 2014 Queensland then Premier Campbell Newman said that the Pirates of the Caribbean film would bring in about 100 million to Queensland and create thousands of local jobs, according to a press release announcing the deal. There is no evidence. However, those benchmarks were reached. When asked to provide data showing the film's actual economic impact, Screen Queensland, the government-backed agency that issued the state's grant, declined to do so and referred the Times to Newman's statement made before production began. So I'm just going to say what I'm gathering here, and this is only my opinion. This isn't Common Sense America's opinion. This isn't anyone's in the chat's opinion. Everybody's trying to cover their ass. Nobody's going to take the blame for what went on as far as this deal is concerned. They're just all trying to cover their ass. Okay, it goes on to say in September, the agency appealed an August decision by the Office of the Information Commissioner of Queensland that the incentive information should be made public. That appeal will now be heard by a judge within the Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal. The total value of assistance Disney received from the state and federal governments is estimated to be in the range of 70 million to 90 million Australian, according to Australian media reports. Among entertainment companies, Disney is adept at seeking out locals that are willing to reward it with millions of dollars in credits and rebates. In recent years, the company has shot several Marvel Studios movies in Georgia, made Star Wars films in Britain, and earlier this year secured an 18 million tax credit for the upcoming picture A Wrinkle in Time. Well, A Wrinkle in Time, didn't that already come out?
Yeah, that was like I said. Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
all this information is like 6, 7 years old. Like every
what the hell? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if you could
that's
see it up here, but I'll try to highlight it so you all can see it. I'm not going crazy. I don't
no,
go
you're
back.
not. I mean, this article literally sounds like it was written 6, 7 years ago and just released now. Now, well, hold on a second. At the top, though, at the top, it just shows the date. That doesn't necessarily mean the date of the article, though, because usually with an article, you usually see it written
Yeah,
at some point in the article, usually in like smaller lettering. You don't usually see it at the top. I mean, granted, I don't
I
read. I don't know if every website does it that way. So
I know that, but I just want to highlight the fact that on this website, the California Business Journal, it is showing Saturday's date. It's
yeah,
not showing any other date concerning
yeah,
this article. So,
this article makes zero sense because if you read it, it's like you're reading an old article. I mean, everything in here is talking because it doesn't say that this happened back in this date, but now we're getting to because if you read the article, it doesn't say it's again the information is like 6, 7 years old.
well, hold on
So
here.
I mean,
One second. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm seeing
no, you're
another
good.
part of
No,
the paragraph that says the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise is widely popular. One for Disney, having generated 3.73 billion in global box office receipts since its launch in 2003. The new movie titled Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man Tell No Tales is set to release. Yeah, what the hell?
yeah,
Why are
this
they
is
why are they posting an article from 4 years ago?
no older
Because
because it says
if you
it's
go
set
by,
to release. That means that they're talking in the future. It's set to release on this date.
but still, why are they just
I
publishing it
I,
now?
I don't know. I don't
It
know that it makes zero sense.
Yes, Buck, I agree. I mean, it makes no sense to publish this information now when Disney's already taken that money and they've spent it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, this is like if you reported on something that happened, you know, pre when Donald Trump became president, and you're reporting that as if it's like now, because the fifth film, like you said, came out over 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So why post any of this now? I mean, the courts can't be that slow. I mean, I know it's government, but even then, 4.5 years at since the movie, and so this article is at least five. It is about 5 years old, probably. So I just I it
I don't
doesn't make
understand. I don't
sense.
understand why they would do it.
It
And
doesn't.
neither one of us are idiots. But why,
No, we're
again,
not.
would you release it now?
Seriously, the only thing I will say about this article, aside from that, it's kind of it's absolutely just moronic and pointless to release it now, is how they're like, well, you gave Disney all this money and everything. Well, why do you think that they kept filming the Lord of the Rings movies in New Zealand? Because the New Zealand government was giving them tax breaks, and yes, they probably were paying them some too, but because of the massive amount of jobs that were created in that
Yeah.
time and the boost to the New Zealand economy.
And if you look
So,
at any production that's either happened now or happened in the past, they've all created some sort of work related boost to the local economy.
Yeah. I mean,
but I have to question why they would release this article now.
I don't know. And honestly, I mean, we're talking more about why the article is released now than the actual article, because all this is so old information. I mean, yeah, I,
it makes you question a lot. At least for me,
oh,
it
there's
does.
many things I question. There's so many things I question. I mean, and also just bringing the fact this is California, so I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything else. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. And let's go ahead and talk about Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan. Well, guess what they did, folks? They co-headlined a show and it sold out in New Orleans. I want to say hello to Star Wars Theology. Welcome. Glad you're here. And this article goes on to say, let me get rid of this ad. Hopefully, Common's able to come back here. So, this article out of Bounding into Comics, it's written by Spencer Bacall, and it goes on to say, much to the dismay of the numerous mainstream media pundits and social media users who would just as soon have both men completely silenced, comedians Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan recently joined forces to headline a sold-out New Orleans comedy show. And the article goes on to say the two were joined by a titanic lineup of fellow comedians, which included Donald Rawlings, Jeff Ross, and Tom Segura. During their individual sets, and at one point during the show, even together, both Chappelle and Rogan pushed back against the false media-driven narratives recently leveled against each respective comedian, poking fun at the recent slander promoted by the mainstream media about him taking the horse pill. That's pretty much what it is. Ivermectin or ivermectin in order to cure his case of COVID-19. This is my advice. Don't listen to my advice. Goes on to say, after further broaching such topics as gender, homosexuality, and race, Rogan laughed that his jokes didn't sound as good on paper, and that discrepancy was what gets me canceled. Rogan then introduced Chapelle, whom the podcast host pointed out had made a lot of white people angry, who proceeded to take the stage and do what he does best. Yeah, that's tell jokes, make people laugh, and uh, yeah, and you're exactly right. You are exactly right, the Padawannabe. It does seem like it was just covered up for some reason. And, you know, it's hard to explain, really. It's hard to explain why they would do it. Well, there are obvious reasons why they would do it, but it's shady to say the least. And let me see one thing. Just gonna check with common sense real quick. All right, so there you are.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like like it was dead silent there, and I was kept talking, and nothing was. I didn't hear a response, so I didn't know if you stepped away for a second or what.
No, it kicked you out, and I'm going, what the
No,
heck's
no, no.
going on?
No, I left. I closed it out because there was dead air on you. Nothing was happening on my end.
Well, this is an interesting experiment with this streaming software, but
Oh,
you got to find out sometime.
amen to that. Yeah, yeah.
And this way, other people watching will decide, well, do I want to use Melon or do I want to just bite the bullet and stick with StreamYard?
I mean, I've never heard of melon, so yeah.
I heard about it by watching one of Gary's live streams, and he actually mentioned it. So I
Hmm.
thought, all right, I'll give it a shot. If it works well, then I'll use it constantly. But if it doesn't work well, I won't use it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, sorry
But
about that. Like I said, technical difficulty, I guess, happened.
that's all right. Go ahead and say what you had already said, but none of us got to hear you say it.
Which was
Well, we had been talking about that article about the Pirates of the Caribbean that only just came out,
uh-huh.
and I didn't know if you were still saying something related to that article or
I mean, I don't know what you heard, what the last thing you heard from me was, because that's the thing. It was like everything just stopped. So I don't know what you last heard, but like I just said, it's just stupid that to report on something so late that you know, I think they're just because the thing about news you have to be on all the time, whether it's gaming, entertainment, politics, sports, whatever. You have to be on that ball constantly because news can become old within an instant because there'll be the next big breaking story. Well, with like 10 hours later or something like that, you know? So I think it's just stupid that they released it now. But
it tells me, and this is just my opinion, that somebody was covering it up and didn't want it to be released to the public.
Yeah, which is weird because New Zealand and go to the States even. Like, why do you think a lot of Walking Dead entirely shot in Georgia? Entirely
Mm-hmm.
shot in Georgia. That boosts the Georgia economy.
Yep.
A lot of films are made surprisingly in Georgia. Films or TV shows they're actually made in Georgia because of favorable tax environments towards the companies and the projects, and it boosts the local economy. That's why when Georgia did the whole voter ID thing, you heard a lot of companies say, "Well, how about we just threaten to pull this and this and this out of Georgia?" Because they do a lot of filming in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So you can even make it local to the states and see that. So, but yeah, so that's the last thoughts because there's nothing really else to add to that weird
All right.
article.
Not a problem. And the next thing I'm talking about, I can go ahead and start over. So you have a frame of reference, is that Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan co-headlined a sold-out show in New Orleans.
Yeah, they did one actually here in Tennessee in Nashville. And the way I know that is because Yellow Flash and that Star Wars girl were actually there. I don't know if that was sold out, but they did also one here in Nashville too.
I'm just going to go ahead and start the article over. This way you have a frame of reference, like I said. And this article, like I said before, comes out of Bound into Comics by Spencer Bacall, and it says, much to the dismay of the numerous mainstream media pundits and social media users who would just as soon have both been completely silenced, comedians Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan recently joined forces to headline a sold-out New Orleans comedy show. Goes on to say the two were joined by a titanic lineup of fellow comedians, which included Donald Rawlings, Jeff Ross, and Tom Segura.
Hmm.
During their individual sets, and at one point during the show, even together, both Chappelle and Rogan pushed back against the false media driven narratives recently leveled against each respective comedian, poking fun at the recent slander promoted by the mainstream media about him taking horse pills in order to cure his COVID-19. Rogan joked, "This is my advice. Don't listen to my advice." After further broaching such topics as gender, homosexuality, and race, Rogan laughed at his jokes, laughed that his jokes didn't sound as good on paper, and the discrepancy was what gets me canceled. Rogan then introduced Chapelle, whom the podcast host pointed out had made a lot of white people angry, who proceeded to take the stage and do what he does best. Beginning with a joke that his wife had brought him a revolver after the release of his recent Netflix special, The Closer, because transgender individuals were trying to kill him. Chappelle's set frequently touched upon the recent backlash to his final of 3 releases for the streaming giant. At one point, the New Orleans Saints fans in the crowd began to playfully boo the comedian after he introduced his bodyguard, a former Dallas Cowboy, to which Chappelle shot back, "Don't go transgender on me." However, when the crowd later began chanting, "Let's go Brandon," Chappelle asserted, "I'm not going to have that beep at my show," adding that no one should be saying F Joe Biden either. But also noting that the current president was looking frail. As his set drew to a close, Chappelle encouraged audience members to reach out to any transgender individual they may run into and buy them a cup of coffee. When they ask you why you're doing that for them, tell them Dave Chappelle says hello, he concluded. So, what do you think?
I mean, so I don't like. So I remember seeing Chappelle's last special he did. I forget what it was called that he did on Netflix. I think it was actually the first one he did on Netflix, like 2 years, 3 years ago, something like that. And I don't agree with Chappelle on probably 60-70% of stuff, probably, because it's just different mindsets. I mean, I don't, I like politically and even certain cultural things we would disagree on. But I liked it because he was at least open and honest with how he felt, and he even called out some stuff that was really good. And from what I heard, this one was the same way, although not like a little less funnier than the last one, but not it wasn't bad, just not as funny as his first special that he did with Netflix. But I've always respected him for just being honest. Sorry. Um, he's honest at least. He doesn't beat around the bush. He says it. He says what he thinks and everything. And love or hate the guy, he's honest. And that's why he got called out.
Yeah.
He got called out for being honest. And because many comedians nowadays, they want to play to the political pandering, and they censor themselves or purposefully go out of their way to bash certain groups with other groups being holier than thou and whatnot. So while I don't always agree with Chappelle, I respect him at least. Um, so. And Rogan, from what I've heard, his stand up is terrible. Anyone I know that's seen Rogan stand up, they're like, yeah, he's terrible at stand up. He needs to just stick to what he does with Spotify.
I've heard that too. Just stick to your talk show and stick to your UFC gig and leave it at that.
Yeah, because I mean, Rogan, I would never consider Rogan a comedian by any stretch. I would consider him a thinker, but not a comedian. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but good for them because they're going against the grain of what the media and leftist culture that has permeated society. They're bucking the trend and basically saying, no, we're going to keep doing our thing. We're going to keep speaking the truth. And sure, is the truth the whole honest to God truth? Is it jaded? Well, yeah, because we're human. We jade the truth a little bit because it's from our perspective, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always respected them because they at least spoke their minds and they were honest. And they said hard hitting stuff that people just don't want to hear in this day and age. They just don't want to hear. So, kudos to them for having a sold out show because it shows that people are hungry for good discourse and dialogue.
Well, not only that, take the governor's election in Virginia and the results from that. That's telling you how the people are thinking right now.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously we're not going to read into that or anything here, but yeah, I mean, it shows that it shows people's eyes are starting to awaken. And my mom and I actually were just talking about this earlier today. We talk once or twice a week for about an hour and a half, catching up and everything. And I mean, that's something I told her. I said, people's eyes are starting to awaken, with culture, with speech, with Virginia being a great example, so, I mean, anybody who's willing to buck the trend and be successful at it, take my money. I might not 100% support you and your beliefs, but the fact you're willing to stand against the grain and stand against the rushing tides, yeah, I'm going to support you at least because we need people like you to do it. Even though we might not agree on maybe the topic, we can at least agree on the premise of truth.
Yep.
Truth and speaking truth, at least, if that makes sense.
Oh, shit. All right. Sorry about that. I was trying to close out the window with Dave Chappelle, and I closed you out.
I see how it
No.
is. I see how it is. You bring me on here just to close. You know what? I see it, Pacific. I see how it is. I'm reporting you to the general. I'm reporting you. It's official now.
Well, I don't know if you're listening to the stream in the background, but I yelled, "Oh shit!"
I thought I heard you say something, but it wasn't like loud and clear. So I was like, "Wait, what did he just say?"
I said, "Oh shit!" I'll repeat it for the viewing audience.
Oh, Lord of mercy! But,
hey, at least I can admit when make a mistake.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. And you know me, man. It's you know, I'd rather, that happen and I use humor and comedy to just kind of be like, hey, what the hell and everything, rather than just, act like a little pissed off, child brat.
Going to
You
Twitter,
know?
Pacific414, cut me off. Ree!
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a squealing pig? No, I'm complaining. Well, you sound like a stuck pig to me. Anyways, that's all I've got to say on that. Good for them. I support them. Keep doing what they're doing. The moment they stop doing what they're doing and they start bowing the knee, well, then you lose my support. But keep standing up. I'll still. I got your six. So
As do I. And, the only reason I brought up Virginia last night is because, just like with Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan, with people selling out that show, the people spoke last night in that election saying what they wanted.
Yep, that's true.
Whether
That's
you
true.
agree with it, whether you disagree with it, that's on you. But the people of that state spoke last night.
Yep.
So, the next article I wanted to talk about is that there's a rumor going around, and it maintains that Michael Keaton will be the Batman of the DCEU, ousting Ben Affleck. And this came out from Bounding Into Comics, and it was on Monday. And it was by J.B. Augustine. It says, "What's old is new again," as the notion Michael Keaton is back to take over in the Batman department in terms of seniority of the DCEU continues to be held onto. It goes on to say that Twitter tipster viewer Annan put forth that there will be a merger of the Burtonverse of the 90s and the DCEU in the Flash films Big Flashpoint, and Ben Affleck will be erased. Well, we've already heard about one property's timeline being erased into a new timeline. Whether that actually happens is another thing.
Yeah, the thing is, I kind of feel like. So I heard, I want to say it was on Midnight's Edge, like last week or the week before, but it's within the past several weeks. I can't remember exactly who said it on the panel, but they said that they feel like Affleck's Batman is kind of treated in the way that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is. Never had an independent movie, but has been in many of the Marvel movies, starting with the Avengers, because that's where we first see Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why a lot of people are like, we want to see a Ben Affleck Batman movie. Actually see what it would look like and everything. So, and here's the thing. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, he's not going to be like a recurring Batman coming back all the time. I mean, for God's sakes, Michael Keaton's how old? He can't be Batman as he once was.
No, that was 30 years ago.
Right. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see a Batman Forever series, Batman Forever like trilogy kind of movie series where, Batman, Michael Keaton as Batman is old Bruce Wayne mentoring and like training the new Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Batman Forever. I would love to see something like that because he still carries the weight of Bruce Wayne, the weight of Batman with him in that trilogy, but he's not donning the cape.
No, because even in that animated series, when he was trying to help out Terry McGinnis and he put on that armored suit, because his heart couldn't take it, he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do. This time it wasn't me. This time it wasn't me that cut out the Patriot. I hope he'll come back. But anyways, according to Vampire Anon, it says it's Keaton. At the end of The Flash, the DCEU and Burtonverse will be merged, and Keaton will be Batman, if that wasn't already clear. Then it goes on to say, more than that, Keaton could still wind up appearing in Batgirl following news of the movie's directors declaring the real Batman would be in it. This contradicts what Batgirl's recently cast star Leslie Grace had to say when grilled, but that doesn't mean she isn't being ordered to stay quiet about Keaton's place in the story. The tip might have also reached its sell-by date, and the scheme of things could possibly have been changed in a rewrite. Still, the rumors of Keaton's coming triumph and Batfleck's purging persist. Basically, believe in the power of positive thought if you like. Welcome back.
It literally did it again. No
Yeah,
audio came from you, and the screen froze. I mean, it literally did it again. So I had to close it out again.
I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you, folks. If you wanted to try out Melon right now, I'm saying don't try it out.
Yeah, it's getting 2 thumbs down from me right now. Love or hate Streamlabs, never did this to me. Or
No,
Streamlabs or Yards, whichever one. Whichever
the
one. I think
streaming
it's
service.
StreamYards. Yeah. I think it's StreamYards I use. StreamYards
Yeah,
never did this to me ever. And all the times I've been guests on whatever live streams, never had issues with it like this. So
no, I mean, like I said, I've had my issues lately with it, but nothing like this where it would actually kick a guest out without me being the one that did it. Now, that one time, I'll admit, that was me. When I said shit, that was me. But these other times, it's been Melon. Okay,
yeah,
so
so yeah.
basically, I was talking about Michael Keaton's Batman being the definitive Batman, and you and I were talking about how it's not 30 years ago. And, this article is even mentioning how Keaton's supposed to be in the Batgirl movie, but the star of the Batgirl movie is denying it. But, as much as we like to see Keaton as Batman, like you were saying, Patriot, seeing a Batman Forever or a Batman Beyond type story with Terry McGinnis would be the next step for the Batman character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you wanted to still stick with Keaton as Bruce Wayne is that's what I would do. If you wanted to keep Keaton around as Bruce Wayne, yeah, that's what I would
Yeah.
do.
I mean, even in the end of Batman Beyond, they wrapped it up pretty nicely.
I gotta find where I can watch that because I have not watched that in so long.
I mean, at one point it was on Netflix, but you know how Netflix is. They get a show and they don't keep it on there for very long. And
They did that to me with anime. Anime and certain like TV series I absolutely loved. They did that all the time. It pissed me off so much.
Spock's Friday Night is telling you to check Discord.
Me to check Discord?
Yeah, that's what he's saying in the chat.
Which Discord?
I don't know if he wants you to check mine or his. Welcome, Godzillionaire. Glad to see you.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm checking mine right now.
I was gonna say
Let's
because I'm not a part of Spock's Discord.
He's saying in my server.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. From Kiss Cartoon, Batman Beyond season 1. Yeah, right there. I see it. Yeah. Okay.
But
Let me save this. Okay. What the hell is going on? Okay. At least I can watch some of this. Okay. There we go. Did it just do it again?
I'm still here. I was just letting you do your thing.
Oh no! Sorry, sorry. I was talking to myself. I do that sometimes when I'm doing stuff. I'll like mutter to myself as I'm doing it. I was just saving the link that he posted.
Not a problem. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is Eternals producer cast doubt on whether Marvel will make sequels for Eternals. I doubt it's going to make even even its budget back. I really doubt that. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think
I
I think
mean,
every
who? No, go ahead. Sorry. I'm
no
getting a
no
thought together. Sorry, I'm getting a thought
I was
together.
gonna say I think everybody that's currently here watching the stream can pretty much figure out how the two of us feel about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing with new Marvel, they're throwing out characters that okay, so like unless you're diehard Marvel fan, like the comics, all that stuff. I don't know who the hell the Eternals are. I don't. So this would be my first introduction to them. That being said, I really don't care. You know? I mean, they are Gary and Midnight's Edge and like one or two other YouTubers have covered it very well about how they keep talking about that. They don't praise this movie for how it's the next stage in Marvel. They're talking about it's diversity. We finally get a gay sex scene. Oh, look at all these people of color and ethnicities, and it's like, why can't you just praise a movie for being like so groundbreaking with visuals or storytelling or furthering the Marvel universe in a new way that makes it more broader to the audience?
You've broken up, brother. I don't know if you can still hear me, but you've broken up. Yep, I am not liking Melon. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I will go ahead and continue here with the article, but I understand what Patriot's saying. I don't need to know a character's sexual orientation. I don't care, you know, what race the character is. What I want is that character or characters involved in a good story that's told well because it's written well. All right, so this article is by John F. Trent, and again,
Okay, it's official. I hate this thing already. That's third. What is that?
I
Third
just
was it?
said that. I just said that too. I am not liking this. No,
Oh God, you probably didn't even hear my rant. I was
no.
ranting.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your rant.
Oh God, it's like when you're ranting after a call dropped and you didn't even know the call dropped and you just talk for
Yeah.
20 minutes. Um, well, hold on a second. Let me get the thought together. Oh yeah. So the reason why big reason why I don't want to see this movie is because all they talk about with it is the diversity, gay characters, people of color, the fact there's a gay sex scene in it, how it's so representing. They're not talking about, yeah, you know what, this is the next stage, the Eternals. They're gonna introduce the next phase of Marvel. It's gonna be these characters that you're gonna be able to relate to and see great world and story building, and how the Marvel universe is gonna be just exploded with new possibilities and ideas and introduce all these things. No, it's all about, well, I'm so glad we finally get, Hispanics and Latinos and this and that. And it's like, that's the last thing I want to hear about when it comes to a Marvel movie. I don't care. Honestly, if you hadn't said anything, I would not have cared. But the fact you told me about it, now I care. Because I wouldn't have looked at the fact of any of that stuff, probably. I might not have cared. But you had to open your mouth.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, give me good characters involved in a good story and let me know why they're involved in that story. I don't care about their
Mm-hmm.
sexual orientation. I don't care. That's really none of my business. Even with fictional characters, it's none of my business. What I want to know is what they're going to do about the crisis that they're facing in this movie. How are they going to overcome it? What gets them to that point of that crisis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I mean, it's just so stupid. Because it's like, well, we've been here for what do they say in the trailers, like 5,000 years or something like that. And it's like, yeah, Thanos happened. And it's like, okay, you're supposed to protect the world from these deviants, whatever they are. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like the name of an alien that you'd find in a video game, like,
mm-hmm.
a new enemy in Halo or something like that. But apparently Thanos literally snapping his fingers and wiping half of the populace of the entire galaxy or universe out of existence is not a big enough reason for you to get off your asses. No, it's only the deviants. It's like, uh, how could, what? Again, it doesn't make sense. Again, the movie might explain it more. I'm just going off of what the trailers, but Midnight's so some I don't know who from Midnight's Edge has actually already seen the Eternals. That when they did their stream today, that was what it was about. They were talking about the Eternals because I don't know if Tom or Andre or both or somebody on Midnight's Edge has seen the Eternals, and that's what they literally talked about today. Like they actually saw the movie, and now they can actually talk about what it's about. So I'm gonna watch that probably tonight at some point because I want to hear what they have to say, what the actual movie's about. But I have no desire to see this movie. I've
No,
checked out of Marvel. Even the new Spider-Man with the cameos and everything, I have almost no interest in anymore. Like I'm kind of done with the superhero stuff because you're not giving me the good stuff. You're giving me pandering, and I don't want pandering. I don't.
they have a list and they have things written on that list, and next to that item on that list is a box, and they're just checking the box over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I
I
realized
just.
watching WandaVision, I was done.
Oh, I
And
didn't
I
even
tried.
buy one. Yeah, I'm sorry. You go ahead. I'm not gonna.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm just gonna say I had no desire to watch WandaVision because I don't think it should have been a thing in the beginning. But that's just me.
I agree with you. I mean, the show went nowhere. It had no payoff. Same from what I've heard about Loki. I only made it through 15 minutes of Loki. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that seemed like a step backward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's they're not. If you're gonna do uh TV shows off of Marvel, do them off of characters that we actually want to see. To be honest, Wanda and Vision, knowing Vision's dead and Wanda's creating this whole thing, the only reason why I would watch that is for Olsen because I think she's an absolute just fucking beauty. But a good-looking woman isn't a good enough reason for me to watch a TV show because after a while the story's going to grate on me. It's just going to grate on me, you know. Um, Winter Soldier and Falcon, no desire to see that. Loki, I thought was a stupid ass premise to begin with. The only one that I'm actually wanting to see is the what is it? The Hawkeye one that comes out. I think it's next month.
Yep.
That's the only one I actually have any interest in seeing, and that's because I love Hawkeye as they portrayed him. Like um, Jeremy Renner, I think, does an amazing Hawkeye, and I love the way they portrayed his character. I'm like, oh, finally, son, finally a character I can actually want because he's never gotten any attention, literally,
No,
never any attention. And
okay, folks. I am trying out well, it's new to me. The new Melon streaming. So I want to say software, the new streaming website Melon, and so far this is the first test, and it has kicked out Common now 4 times, and that doesn't sit well to me. Not when I'm going to have guests on this platform talking about things like the Eternals, and he now gets kicked off for a 4th time. So looks like my decision's been made that this is the one and only time I am going to use this. This is the one and only time I'm using this service. This service absolutely sucks.
Melon, you're only good for one thing, and that's eating because you're a delicious fruit. Other than that, stay off the internet. Anyways,
And David, the reason why I'm not using regular OBS is because I want to have a group of people on things like this. And with OBS, it's really a pain in the ass to try to get everybody framed up just to go live. But I can tell you this. This is the one and only day I'm using Melon. Tomorrow, it's back to StreamYards. I'll take the free version. Even with some of the issues I've been having with StreamYards lately, it's not anything like this. But as you were saying, Patriot, you don't have any interest in seeing this movie, and even someone like Elizabeth Olsen's not going to entice you to see it. And the last thing you were talking about was Hawkeye coming out with Jeremy Renner, and
yeah. I mean, he's the only one because he's kind of like the sideshow character in all the Marvel movies where they don't really go into him. They just kind of drop him there, and he doesn't really get any character development. I mean, you see in Age of Ultron, oh, he secretly had a family. Okay, that's like the only thing they actually did with him, but they didn't even really explain any of that. They're just like, oh, here's a family. What?
And we keep hearing about Budapest from
It
him and Natasha.
yes.
And guess what? In Black Widow, that would have been the perfect opportunity to explore that particular arc. And they dropped the ball on it.
Hard. Hard. Because do you know what the funny thing is? I remember when people, granted, this is years ago, this is several years ago, way before a Black Widow movie was ever announced. People were clamoring for get Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner to portray their characters, their roles, and do a movie about Budapest. Why is that so significant? Because when she says this is just like Budapest all over again, and he says you and I remember Budapest very differently. Was that like a bonding moment? Was that the first time they served as shield agents together? Like, what was significant that had to be mentioned?
We want more layers peeled off of that onion.
Yeah, because honestly, that dynamic between Black Widow and Hawkeye in the movies, I actually enjoyed. Because they're kind of like brother and sister to a degree, like best
Mm-hmm.
friends, brother sister, like that kind of relationship. And I would have loved to see that expanded on further. To be honest, with a movie just with them.
Well, even in Endgame, when they both went to get one of the Infinity Stones, and they're going back and forth who's going to end up dying, and then Natasha ends up dying because she didn't want Clint, to die due to his family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and then the whole in go to Age of Ultron when they're joking around about like names for for because remember they thought it was gonna be a girl and then they find out it's a boy and then you see Natasha like bend over to Rainier's character's wife and then she just mutters traitor. So I mean, obviously, it's like there's that brother sister best friend relationship and everything. So that would have been a great movie to do. Screw the Eternals, give us that. It. And the thing is, it doesn't continue anything on in the MCU. It just well. Actually, if you're gonna do a movie about Budapest, you probably should have done it before Endgame.
Mm-hmm. I think the perfect spot for it would have been between Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Infinity War.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
That would have been the perfect spot for it. And I even mentioned that in my review for Black Widow. I I am so tired of Marvel trying to throw in a joke here and a joke there just to make the movie move along. I liked it when Paramount actually had control of the Marvel movies, and yeah, they would throw in a joke, but it would actually mean something. It wouldn't just be in there just for the sake of having the character say a corny joke. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, go to the first Iron Man movie when he's like when after Stark does his test flight with the Mark II, the silver Iron Man suit, and they're going over the data, and then him and Jarvis are working on how to.
It did it again. Oh boy. Folks, I do not recommend melon. I can't stress it enough. I do not recommend melon. So I'm going to wait for Patriot to hopefully make his way back in here if this lousy streaming service lets him. And then we'll continue on with his thought. But, Marvel, I think what they should have done after phase 3 is take a break because we've gotten 11 years of Marvel movies prior to Endgame, and take a break and take that time to flesh out new stories, see what characters you can draw from, and try to adapt them to the MCU. But instead, they're constantly just throwing things on the wall, hoping it will stick. And it's not working. Just like the jokes in a lot of the movies anymore, they're not working. There's no point to these jokes that they're putting in these movies. I know it's to add some levity to situations, but the jokes that were in Black Widow, for example, they weren't funny. They were stupid. They weren't funny at all. Yes, I know the underscore Patriot underscore has joined. Quit kicking him off.
No. It's not kicking me off. I purposefully have to close out the web page every time.
That's poor web design.
Yeah. I mean, I have to literally close it out because refreshing doesn't do anything. So I have to literally close it out and then go back to Discord and tap the link and reopen it all over again. And this is what time? This is the fifth time. Fifth. I lost count after 4.
Fifth time.
Fifth time.
Fourth, fifth time. The last time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Anyways, I think I've talked enough about Eternals because at this point, my rants always seem to be when I freaking get the website decides to act up on me. So,
all right. Well, I'm gonna try to get through this article, but we'll see what this app does. And I appreciate that, Spock, but unlike if you're using Streamlabs OBS and OBS where you can actually control everything that's going on, this Melon app is pretty much like StreamYard. Pretty much a copy of StreamYard, yet unlike StreamYard, unfortunately, my good friend here has to keep refreshing and exiting out just so he can stay as part of the stream. Okay, so again, this is out of Bound in the Comics by John F. Trent, and it says Eternals producer Nate Moore cast some doubt on whether Marvel Studios will make sequels to the company's latest film, Eternals. Moore spoke with the Toronto Sun on the last day of production for the Eternals about the film. Specifically regarding a sequel, he stated, "It's not something that is a must-have." Well, this movie isn't something that's a must-have. There are people that are going to disagree with that statement I just made, but this movie isn't a necessary movie. But it's Marvel Studios just reaching into the bag and trying to pull something out so that they can use it. Anyways, it goes on to say, Moore went on to state, obviously, we have ideas of where we would go, but there isn't a hard and fast rule. We have to have 3 of these things, and this is the first. So, in other words, you can look at it this way. You can say they don't have any plan, and it shows. Phase 4 has no plan. It says, not only does he cast doubt on the fact that there might not be any sequels, but the Toronto Sun also claims the film does not offer any hints as to the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They state, but outside of the possible post-credit scenes, Moore says Eternals won't offer any hints to the future, which is unusual for a Marvel movie. It says, however, that's not exactly what Moore says. Instead, he notes, we felt like there was enough story that it could be a contained universe. We definitely have ideas of how things can cross over later, but this movie with 10 characters and Dane Whitman and Celestials, and Deviants, there was enough for us to play with, he added. Goes on to say, while Moore's comments definitely cast doubt on whether Marvel plans to do sequels for Eternals, he did indicate they might spin off Kit Harington's Black Knight into his own film or series. However, he noted that Eternals doesn't even show Harrington's, Dane Whitman as the Black Knight. Moore explained he's not going to be the Black Knight necessarily, but that is something that we get to play with down the road. So it says the official description for the Eternals reads when monstrous creatures called deviants, long thought to be to history, mysteriously return, the Eternals are forced to reunite in order to defend humanity once again. Oh, so Thanos was never a reason for them to show up. You know, Thanos presented a pretty big threat to humanity, snapping away half the population. But nah. We're gonna sit here in the dugout and we're just gonna look at the chaos going on the field and not offer to the manager say, "Hey, put us in there. I could fix this thing," or make a call down to the bullpen and get somebody warmed up in the bullpen. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be way too hard, you know? I mean, because that's the thing is these Eternals, say one of them was married at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're going to outlive your spouse, but you still want to have that love and adoration with whomever it is.
Yes.
Well, imagine they're one of the ones that gets killed by Thanos. You know, imagine you're going at it. You two, you're in throes of.
Hold on, brother. It cut you off. Oh boy. Yeah. You know what, folks? I'm sorry, but with the way this is going, I think I'm just going to go ahead and end it right here. Yes, there is more I still want to talk about, but I can't do it if this streaming service that I'm using keeps cutting in and out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and unfortunately wrap it up here. All right, go ahead with your thought, brother. I was just gonna go ahead and wrap up because this is getting old. This constantly kicking you out. It's getting old.
It's like on my end, it just kind of freezes up, but everything is still active. Like the ticker on the bottom is still scrolling. The live timer is still going. That's still going, but you cut out, and then whatever you're doing on screen with an article freezes. So it's like I don't know what it's doing.
I don't know what it's doing either, but you know, this was an alternative I thought I would try, and just these last few times, what is this? 7 times now, 6, 7 times. It's kicked you out. Nah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They got a lot of glitches they got to fix.
Yeah. But real quick, because I'm just going to pull it up on screen. I'm not going to talk about the article, but I'm going to pull it up on screen here real quick. Let's see if it comes up. Cancel. Well, basically, what I'm going to talk about real quick before I go ahead and wrap it up here, since this has been a failure of an experiment, is Alice Eves.
Oh, with her getting down to her nice undies in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, basically
I love
short
that
here.
scene, by the way.
All,
Yes.
all I'm gonna say is that if she has no problem with it, then no one else should. She was the one in the role of Carol Marcus, and if she thought it was part of her artistic expression, like I said, I'm not going to read the article, but if it's part of her artistic expression, then so be it. And I'm going
Hmm.
to go on record to say, as a guy, I like the scene quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah. Opening night, I saw that movie, and when that scene came up, I was I was there next to my girlfriend, and I just like that scene popped up, and I glanced over, and
All right. I'm going to give him a chance to come back. I am going to give him a chance to come back. And then if he doesn't come back, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because this is this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. If anybody who has watched this stream or watched the stream after the fact, sees the stream and sees that the Patriot has been cut out now 8 times, 7, 8 times, and only one of them was accidentally by me. Yeah, I would not recommend this at all. Not at all.
okay, you're gonna see me now because I'm pissed off.
That's quite all right, brother, because I'm getting aggravated with this. I'm getting
I'm
aggravated
gonna
to the point
strangle.
I want to I want to rant and rave about it, but all I'm gonna say is, don't even try this, folks. It sucks. And Melon, if you're watching, your crap sucks.
Your crap sucks. Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah,
It,
if you want to do another one of these during the week, and we bring up the article again, I'll gladly talk about it again because this one I could actually talk about for a while. That's actually little more ranty in a positive manner. But yeah,
well, I do have a question.
yo,
Would you like to join me for a watch party tomorrow, starting at 8 of the 4th episode of Chucky?
I'm not into Chucky or any of those. So thanks for the offer, but that's just not
Okay.
my kind of stuff.
All right. Well, how about after I do the watch party and give my review, we try this again tomorrow? Would you
Yeah,
be
we
down
can
for
try it
that?
again tomorrow and bring up maybe one or two of the articles, like a shortened stream kind of, just kind of retouching on one or two articles that we wish didn't have technical difficulties interrupting them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. So I think on that note, let's go ahead and wrap up the stream. And how do you feel about battling some tanks?
Shooting something does sound pretty good right about now.
All right. I'll see you in War Thunder, my friend.
Sounds good to me.
All right, folks. I do apologize for all the technical difficulties. Like I said, and this is the last time I'm going to say it, this was a failed experiment. It was like the great experiment, the Excelsior. It's supposed to have transwarp drive. Well, guess what? Just like the Excelsior, when you remove a few key parts to that transwarp engine, it's not going anywhere. So,
Yep.
thank you to all of those who did come in and watch the show. I want to thank Spock's Friday Nights. I want to thank David Chen. I want to thank Brightest Day. I want to thank Godzillionaire. Also want to thank, let's see, Star Wars Theology, the Padawannabe. I want to thank Jake D. And I also want to thank my guest, the Smoking Patriot, also known as Common Sense America. I appreciate you coming on here. Sorry this app didn't like you for whatever reason.
It can't handle my level of freedom. It's scared by it.
And with that being said, I want to tell you all thank you and take care. And we will see you probably around, let's do this around 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Is that okay with you?
11 o'clock your time? Because you're
Yeah.
Eastern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 o'clock my time. Yeah. Just send me the link on Discord.
I will.
So, yep, sounds good.
All right, brother. I'll see you in War Thunder.
Sounds good.
Take care, everyone.
Later, everybody.